So this is reading 2020 paper 1 reading 2020年嘅 reading. So we will begin with number 7. It goes with reference to paragraph 3. State one reason why the building work was especially challenging. So it says here one reason why the building work was especially challenging. Here are some keywords. The keywords. So if we go to paragraph 3, you find the word challenge here. 相似嘅詞語我哋揀低佢。And if you go scan through paragraph 3 very quickly, you find the number of reasons stated here. 然之後睇到最尾嘅時候，the restoration work was destined to be particularly complicated. 首尾呼應 complicated challenge. That was a challenge like nothing Hong Kong had seen before. 到最後講 destined to be particularly complicated. Why? Well, it says on line 12, with 18 different buildings, 3 of which are declared monuments, a destination that imposes legal restrictions on how a building can be modified. 點解咁複雜 complicated？ 點解係一個 challenge 係一個挑戰呢？呢度講 a destination that imposes legal restrictions. 呢度講 that imposes legal restrictions on how a building can be modified. 係有限制嘅 restrictions, legal restrictions 係法律嘅限制，係點樣修改、點樣重建，係點樣 modified 係有唔同嘅限制。So that is the reason why it's a challenge, and it makes it particularly complicated. 點解咁複雜係一個挑戰呢？原來係因為有一個法律上面嘅限制。Of course, another reason why it's so challenging is because there are altogether 18 different buildings. 因為嗰個樓宇嘅數字比較大，好多嘅樓宇，總共有18個唔同嘅 buildings. And if you go to the answer key, therefore, it says here because there are 18 different buildings involved. 因為牽涉緊18座唔同嘅樓咯。And it also goes legal restrictions because there are legal restrictions on how buildings can be modified. 再提多次 modified 呢個字係作出改動，係有唔同嘅法律上面嘅限制。Number 9. Find a word in paragraph 4 to highlight the fact that it took time to find a solution. 揾一個字 a word to highlight the fact that it took time. 呢度我間低咗 took time 同時間有關嘅，亦都同 solution 有關嘅。So we try to identify the keywords. When we go to paragraph 4, solution. When you scan through the whole of paragraph 4, you find words related to solution like first proposal. 呢個其中一個 solution 有關嘅字眼 first proposal. And then you also have this came up with a plan. 都係講緊 solution, plan, proposal, plan. So in between, let's read. The first proposal called for a spine tower inspired by bamboo scaffolding. It was furiously rejected. 第一個 proposal 係 rejected by nearby residents. And then eventually the architects came up with a plan, another plan. 後來嗰啲建築師有第二個計劃。So if we go back to question number 9, a word to highlight the fact that it took time to find a solution. 你見到呢度第一個 proposal 被 reject 被拒絕。And then eventually 但係到最後後來嗰啲建築師有第二個嘅計劃 another plan。所以喺度見到啦，呢個字亦都同時間有關啦。Took time 就係講緊後來最終 ，so eventually should be the word。Question number 11. Complete the following information about the new arts pavilion by using a word or phrase taken from paragraphs 4 to 6 for each blank. Write no more than 3 words for each blank, each gap. So 3 words from paragraphs 4 to 6, and we will begin with distinctive appearance. 講講個外表，個建築物好顯著嘅外表啊。So we have 2 columns: initial design 最初、起初、原初嘅設計 ，and then we have the final design 最終嘅結果、最終嘅設計。And so regarding the appearance， 講到呢個外形上面嘅 the inspiration taken from， so we've just read from here line 19 the first proposal 嘅意思即係 initial design， 同學一定要知道最初起初。Was inspired by bamboo scaffolding， 呢個基本上就係個答案啦。講緊個 inspiration taken from 就係呢個 bamboo scaffolding， 就係嗰啲竹棚。And the final design, buildings look like. So at the end of the paragraph 4, 呢度講緊 buildings look like， 呢度講 both are clad in black aluminium blocks that give them the appearance of leather jewelry boxes. So we have no more than 3 words, so I believe we can simply put down the words leather jewelry boxes， 就係講緊好似一啲皮做嘅一啲珠寶嘅啲盒仔一樣，就係呢個 appearance going back to the buildings looking like this. Number 11. So still on number 11, but we will move on now to the last 2 blanks regarding the architect's response. 嗰啲建築師嗰個嘅反應個迴響係點呢？ Initial, so still on the left hand column, initial design. It goes, the architects were surprised as they expected this kind of reaction in somewhere, but not here in Hong Kong. 似乎個答案係同香港呢個城市有少少對比一個地方啊，講緊 surprised。 So if we go to paragraph 5 here， 你見到有個地方 Switzerland。We were honestly a bit shocked to find that Hong Kong has neighborhoods worse than Switzerland, that they would complain about such a radical transformation. 香港嗰啲嘅社群啦，嗰啲住喺嗰度嘅人啦，竟然有好大嘅反響，好大嘅投訴，關於呢個咁嘅改動，仲差過喺瑞士嗰啲嘅居民。Alright. So going back there, surprised, we see shocked, surprise in contrast. I mean, very similar wording. This type of reaction in Switzerland. So probably the answer should be Switzerland. Now moving on to the last blank. After seeing that the initial design may have been too radical, 佢哋最初嗰個設計太過激烈、太過激進、太過強啊、太過不同。They toned it down. They toned down their new design， 將佢稍微修飾一下，溫和返少少。Without changing their original. So if you go to paragraph 6, the first sentence, the designer describes the final design as less radical. 見到啦 ，less radical. Too radical. They tone it down, making it become less radical, but with the same goal of opening blah blah blah, but with the same goal. So here, without changing their original goal, and that probably is the answer. Without changing the original goal, with the same goal. Yeah. So the answer, Switzerland and goal. Number 12. Complete the summary of paragraph A by using one word taken from paragraph A for each gap. And we'll begin here. 我哋淨係講最後呢兩個 blanks. Also, in the prisoners, the jockey club did not preserve the graffiti. As a result, they were for losing some of the building's original atmosphere. So number 3, 你見到係 prisoners, so you expect a noun here. You should expect a noun, or probably a place. 應該係一個地理上嘅東西。Okay, did not preserve the graffiti. As a result, they were. So probably a verb in the passive form. They were for losing some of the building's original atmosphere. 咁呢度有少少嘅提示，當你揾嘅時候咧，會比較容易啲啲。Now, so it's about graffiti, the original atmosphere, the jockey club. So let's see if we can find very similar wordings. Yes, of course, we already find graffiti here. So it's all about the missteps. 當然講嘅一啲誤判啦，一啲錯漏嘅東西啦。And we will start from here. And the jockey club has been criticized for failing to preserve some of the non-architectural elements of the site's heritage, like graffiti that have been scrawled by prisoners on the walls of their cells, the walls of their cells, of whom their 呢度講緊嘅當然係個 prisoners, or the wall of the prisoners' cell. So 翻嚟呢度 also in the prisoners' cells. Yes， 咁你見到講緊係其實就係嗰啲監牢啦，嗰啲監倉啦，就係嗰啲 cells。呢個字除咗解做細胞之外，亦都解做一啲監倉啊 ，prisoners' cells。所以喺嗰度牆嗰啲監倉嘅牆上面會有一啲塗鴉 graffiti。咁 as a result, they were 頭先我哋其實隱約都見到個答案嘅啦。They were, so you see, they were criticized for failing to preserve the graffiti. So 呢度講啦 did not preserve the graffiti. Okay, so that's why they were criticized for losing some of the original atmosphere. 雖然你唔見到一模一樣嘅呢個嘅句子喺篇文章嗰度，但係你前文後理你會見到 criticized for should be the answer。呢度都好明顯啦，俾你啦。criticized for failing to preserve the original, the non-architectural elements。所以呢度講雖然係 non-architectural elements，其實都係講緊個 original atmosphere。咁呢度個答案當然就係 criticized for。OK， 咁請留意啊 ，criticize 就係抨擊，而嗰個 preposition 通常就係用 for to be criticized for failing。Alright， so there you go the answer。留意嘅係一定係 passive voice criticized， 亦都呢一度咧，亦要留意啊。除咗呢個 passive voice 之外，呢度一定要眾數 cells，because the blank is the prisoners 係眾數嚟嘅 prisoners cells。Alright. Number 13. Give an example from paragraph 9 of how John Banton's prediction in paragraph 9 has come true. 呢度呢個題目有少少特別嘅。首先你要認識呢個人叫 John Banton, which can be found here in paragraph 9, and he is obviously an art critic. 一個藝術嘅評論員。And then another thing we have to know is about his prediction. 佢有乜嘢嘅預測呢？而嗰個嘅 example 又係啲乜嘢嘅例子能夠喺第9段嗰度揾到嘅呢？ So let's not forget that there are also these words given as central lags. 似乎我哋答呢條問題比較特別嘅就係要幫佢 接翻嗰句嘅句子啊。As Central lacks 究竟中環缺乏緊啲乜嘢嘢呢？ Alright, let's go back to paragraph 9. So it goes here. Central doesn't have many open spaces. 咁呢度講得好明顯啦。個 lack. So what does it lack? Central doesn't have many open spaces. 換言之，呢個答案一開始填嘅時候咧，應該係講 as Central lacks open spaces. 呢度講緊 open spaces 啊。OK， 所以呢個基本上就係答案啦，但係未完嘅。So we have to give an example. So as Central lacks open spaces， 咁點呢？咁會發生啲乜嘢事呢？有啲乜嘢日常嘅例子呢？咁呢個係我哋要處理嘅東西。So if we go back to the original passage, it says, and that new function will be one markedly different from its past role. What we have noticed is that 要留意啦，當我哋問緊有咩 example 嘅時候，呢度講我哋發現到啲乜嘢嘅日常嘅事情呢？ What we have noticed is that neighbors would just drop by in the evening to meet up with their friends because Central lacks open spaces. 似乎呢一個就係個答案啦。而要完成呢句句子 ，if we want to complete these words, probably our answer should go as Central lacks open spaces. Neighbors will just drop by in the evening to meet up with their friends. So that should be the answer. Let's see. Alright, there you go. Number 13. Central lacks open spaces. So people, neighbors will just drop by to meet their friends or their other locals or the neighbors. That's it. Number 14. So here is a summary of paragraph 10. And 3 of the lines, there is one mistake. 呢個要留意啊。3 of the lines, there is one mistake. So in other words, in one of those lines, there is no mistake. Put a tick. 呢個要留意，即是其中一個4個格裏面有一個係tick， 另外3個呢係有一個 mistake 嘅，咁需要做改動嘅。Alright, so we'll just look at number 1, 3, and 4. The final exhibition held at Tycoon was chosen to celebrate blah blah blah. The final exhibition， 當你睇嘅時候，你會諗下邊個字有可能係錯呢？會 celebrate 呢 was chosen 呢，或者唔係一個 exhibition 一定係唔係 final 嘅呢？ So we will look back at paragraph 10, and it goes was the Tycoon's new live as public gathering space was one of the reasons its inaugural heritage exhibition。 我哋見到 exhibition 呢個字啦。But it's an inaugural heritage exhibition. Inaugural 就係一個開幕禮嘅意思，開幕。我哋亦都從成個文章知道大館係一個新嘅一個地方，一個新嘅建築物啊。New life as a public gathering space 係幾新下嘅。So it doesn't make sense to say that it's a final exhibition。啱啱先起邊，何來係 final exhibition 呢？So in other words, the answer should be changing the word final into inaugural, or probably the first exhibition 啱啱開幕嘅，換言之唔係最尾一個，而係第一個。The first exhibition held at Tycoon was chosen to celebrate blah blah blah. OK， 呢個第一個啦。Number 3. The exhibition was called 100 Faces. It told the stories of both famous and more ordinary people. 究竟係咪講緊 both famous and more ordinary people 呢？定係有其他唔同嘅改動呢？Some of that history deals with well-known 即是話係 famous people 咯。其中一個例子啊，就係 Vietnamese Communist leader Ho Chi Minh， 何志明，越南嘅。So that's right. And but other stories are more humble. Humble 呢度嘅意思唔係講緊佢哋好謙虛啊、謙卑，而係比較平平無奇嘅。 第二個講法就係其實就係 ordinary. So you find both famous people and more ordinary people. That's the stories being told in the exhibition. 換言之，第三呢一個應該係冇乜點錯嘅啦，應該係俾個 tick 佢啦。如果四格裏面有一個 tick 咧 most likely number 3 should be given a tick. Number 4, the last line. So these people whose lives had been disturbed by the prison and police station. If you have to make some change, what would that be? So would it be the prison, the police station? 大館的而且確就係一個警署同埋嗰個監牢係非常之密切關係啦。Whose lives? The lives of famous and ordinary people. 呢度似乎冇咩空間可以做咩改動。唯一嘅一個位就係呢個 disturbed， 即係被妨擾啦、打攪啦、打擾啦、干擾啦。So you wonder whether it's something to be changed, and if you go back here, it mentions the Vietnamese leader jailed in Victoria prison, using Hong Kong as a base to plot his revolutionary war against France. And there are other more humble stories, and there is one about the owner of a Shanwan printing press. 我哋得知嘅就係咁上下啦，冇乜其他東西可以知道啦。And so going back to the question, the line number 4， 似乎 disturb 呢個字係唯一可以改動嘅。而點樣改好呢？可能你想用一個溫和少少嘅字，譬如changed， 似乎打擾、打攪、妨礙，好似比較單向啲呢個字，需要一個比較中肯啲、中性啲嘅字，譬如 changed、affected， 咁呢個字可能會好少少，亦都係唯一可以做到嘅改動。So if we now go back to the answer. Yes, so here is the word final should be changed into first, inaugural, or even the word initial 都係講緊頭一個、第一個、首次嘅意思啦。And number 3 should be given a tick. Number 4 disturb 冇錯啦，應該係改做一個 affected, changed 或者 influence 或者深少少啦 impacted, altered 呢啲字都係講緊被呢個所改變啫。唔係話講到係被妨礙打擾咁單向咁極端嘅，用一個中性啲嘅字 like changed, influenced, affected. Alright, so here we are at the end of part A, and I'd like to go to question 19 regarding paragraphs 4 to 12. Based on these paragraphs, we can do the matching with the comments with the person or organization mentioned in the text. 所以第一件事睇睇啲名先。We have Winnie Young, we have Herzog and de Meuron, and we have Katie Law, Fredo Cheung, John Bannon. 做少少好快嘅 review， 好嘅習慣就係揀低晒所有嘅名。So like Winnie Young is the head of Kwun's head of heritage， 就係大館裏面嘅呢個嘅文物嘅呢個部門嘅頭啦。Alright, so we have Winnie Young there, we have Jacques Herzog and Pierre de Meuron， 就係嗰啲嘅 designers 啦，who were feeling shocked， yeah。如果記得做少少，佢哋做一啲對比，俾香港相對於瑞士兩個群眾嗰種嘅接受程度啊。And then we have Katie Law, the convener 係一個統籌嘅 Central and Western District Concern Group 喺中西區嘅一個關注組嘅一個聯絡人統籌 Katie Law. Then we have Fredo Cheung, an architectural conservationist 一個建築保育嘅專員嘅專家 Fredo Cheung. And then we have John Bannon, the art critic， 呢個嘅藝術嘅評鑑員啦。另外我哋亦都再一次見到 Katie Law and Katie Law and Winnie Young， 仲有講咗少少嘢，所以都好 最好就圈埋佢，因為我哋陣間可能喺度揾到啲蛛絲馬跡。We'll find clues, what they say, what they how they have commented。跟住第二步啦，揾翻晒啲人之後，我哋睇睇好快咁 scan 下啲 keywords。Like A, the renovation was quite heavy-handed， 好重手嘅呢個改建。And will take on new life as a result。咁揀低少少嘅關鍵字眼啦，邊個形容唔係好重手嘅呢？亦都係一個 new life 呢，我哋就再睇下。B, the size of this project is unheard of， 係前所未有嘅，香港裏面呢種咁樣嘅 project 嘅規模係前所未有嘅。C, almost everyone spoken to doesn't like the design， 咁呢個好大路嘅。OK。D, the design of new buildings is not appropriate for the site， 講緊 design 係唔適合嘅。E, it was important to recognise the needs of the community， 講緊地區上面嘅需要，我哋陣間睇下見唔見到呢啲嘅字眼。G, sticking to the original building design is too limiting， 亦跟足原初嘅設計呢係唔係太理想嘅，太多規範啦，唔理想嘅。So with the background understanding, we'll go back to the names and try to find out what they believe。舉例，we will go back to like 簡單啲先啦，譬如 Frederick Chang。Okay, here he says, so the point is not to mimic the old, but to distinguish the old from the new。 Not to mimic 唔係抄晒原有嘅設計， but to distinguish the old from the new， 而係將新同埋舊兩者能夠區分到嘅。 Not to mimic the old， 咁你一睇就知道啦，講緊嘅其實係呢度 sticking to the original design， 講緊就係呢個啦。頭先講 mimic 呢個字就係其實講緊 sticking to， 咁所以比較容易嘅。 Frederick Chang G, no problem。 跟住我哋再睇睇我哋舉例睇下 Katie Law。 So here she says many people feel they are totally out of place, and I personally think they're too heavy. They dominate the entire site， 覺得完全係唔合適嘅。Too heavy， dominate the entire site， 究竟係講緊邊個呢？講緊應該係呢個啦。Not appropriate， 嗰個根本上成個設計都同成個嘅範圍、成個區分咧都唔係好恰當嘅。So you see the similar meaning here, yeah. Okay, so Katie Law should be D, yeah. 跟住我哋再睇 Winnie Young。Well, of course, you may start from the beginning, Winnie Young here, but you may also want to go to the bottom, because it says pretty clearly that it includes paragraph 12 as well. And when we got tricked at it, Young. She said, never have we done such a large-scale conservation and revitalization project all in one go. Exactly 啦，我講緊呢度就係 large scale. Never have we done. So, in other words, the kind, the size is unheard of. 前所未有嘅 is unheard of. Never have we done such a large scale. 咁大規模嘅 the size of this project. So Winnie Young should be matched with B. 咁呢個都係比較直接簡單啦。最後兩個。So we'll look at John Batten, the critic。 呢個都係淨係呢一段有嘅啫 paragraph 9。 So he said, but over time the buildings will evolve into a new appearance, and function。 呢個係佢嘅理念啊。 Over time the buildings will evolve into new appearance and function。 咁我哋睇睇仲有啲乜嘢值啦。 呢度講 new life， yeah， 係比較 heavy-handed 嘅。咁 John Bannon so he believed that that new function will be one markedly different from its past role。呢度講好明顯嘅不同嘅，所以呢度講 heavy-handed 好重手嘅，嗰個 renovation 嗰個重建係好重手嘅，因為佢係 one markedly different 係非常之唔同嘅同佢以前。不過they will evolve into a new appearance and function。不過將會有一個新嘅作用，一個新嘅新生。喺呢度講 take on a new life， 所以呢度難就難在於 markedly different from its past role。其實講緊係 heavy-handed，the renovation was heavy-handed， 而另外 new life 講緊嘅其實係 new appearance and function。 So John Bannon should be matched with A。 Yes。 咁最後啦，簡單啲啦，雖然都難睇咁啫，佢疏緊點樣空。究竟係 B 定係 C 呢？我哋就sorry，should it be E 定 C 呢？剩翻呢兩個啦，我哋睇睇佢哋講過啲乜嘢。Chaque jour Pierre de Mahon 呢度有講啦，呢度我哋都睇咗啦 ，shocked 啦。究竟係邊一度呢？有冇講過 needs of the community 呢？講緊 everyone spoken to doesn't like the design 呢？我諗好多同學都會第一個就係睇咗呢一句。而會揀咗個答案就係 everyone spoken to doesn't like the design， 因為嗰個 neighborhood would complain about such radical transformation。 Yeah。 但係當你睇到下少少低少少 and this is what they said， but the feedback made them realize that what people valued about Kwun was its low-rise character in a high-rise city, and it has always been an attractive space just waiting to be discovered by the public. And what is important， 要特別留意講緊呢幾隻字啊。What people value about Kwun was。but the feedback made them realize， 雖然有咁樣嘅反響，但係佢哋發現咗人當地嘅居民佢哋重視啲乜嘢，需要啲乜嘢嘢呢？ So if you go back to E, it says it was important to recognize the needs of the community. The needs value about made them realize， 就係講緊呢度啦，就係呢一個佢哋發現到要知道人嘅需要，雖然有唔同嘅投訴。Alright， so it seems E is more a likely answer to match with number 2. So let's see. Alright, so there you go. That explains why the percentage is so low. Yeah. Alright. So this is part A. 2020. I give you this Kwun. The big house is finally open. So for part A.